Stop me if this sounds familiar. A black man is shot and or killed by a white police officer. The media and assorted left-wing talking heads ascend to tell a sanitized version of what happened. The BLM hordes on the ground are activated to start destruction. A more complicated and nuanced version of the story finally comes out, but by then, the country is in the midst of yet another week or so of race rioting. Of course you've seen it before, and we're all seeing it right now yet again. The case of 20-year-old Minneapolis resident Daunte Wright is only the most recent version of this. In Wright's case, the young man was unfortunately killed by a police officer who mistook her pistol for a taser after Wright, who had multiple warrants for his arrest, struggled with police officers trying to bring him in. Now, did Wright deserve to die? Of course not. Nobody does, and nobody's saying that. But the fact that this was an unfortunate accident, not a malicious race-based hate crime by some white supremacist police officer, well, that fact doesn't matter to the BLM mob or its media enablers, because truth and facts don't matter anymore. It's all about the narrative. And this particular narrative happened to come from the same place where Derek Chauvin is on trial for the murder of George Floyd. As if Minneapolis hadn't already had its share of BLM violence to the tune of $55 million in property damage, our bloodthirsty media and other sycophantic left-wing jackals decided that they should add a bit more, knowing full well the picture that they were painting. The only question I have is, where does this all go? What happens to a country so easily torn apart by the BLM race hoaxes we're seeing on a more regular basis every summer? If you ask Rashida Tlaib, it means no more policing, no more prisons, they can't be reformed. And yes, she seriously believes this. Seriously, go to her Twitter. But she'll be okay. And so will her fellow Congress members and the assorted left-wing activists who spew their talking points. They'll live in multi-million-dollar homes and gated communities, like perhaps one in the $3 million real estate portfolio of Black Lives Matter co-founder Patrisse Cullors. But for the black communities these people pretend to care about, for the black communities they pretend to ride so hard for, they'll continue to live in destruction and wallow in misery. But once every few months, their lives will be given meaning, yet another BLM hoax pops up. Maybe Ben Crump will get another couple $1 million. Maybe Patrisse Cullors will buy a new house. But what about those people on the streets? Those people whose teared up, screaming faces our media loves to capture? They'll go back to their lives, angry, confused, manipulated, convinced that their lives have no purpose because they're trying to succeed in a white supremacist country anyway. And then they'll commence burning it all down. And the mainstream media will have no problem being right there to film the flames.